I want to share something with you. It's been on my mind. Sometimes it's very important to appreciate what we have. Right? I'm going to say this story again. I've said this story many times. This is a halacha lema'aseh. Right? This is a halacha lema'aseh. It's brought down in Avoth Hashri in second Pirke if you want, I'll show you. It's a story that happened and it's a halacha. It's a halacha. It could come to Beit Din nowadays. They pass in the same way. A Jew needed to fix his roof. Remember, we had back in Iran Shirbuni, right? They used tin. Right? They used tin. So he goes to another Jew who's a tin seller. Says buys 500, 600 pounds of tin, whatever it was. He buys tin. So he takes the tin home, hires the roofer to come and fix his roof. Right? So he starts to melt down the tin to make flat plates for the roof. So it's not tin. It's silver. Somebody apparently wanted not to pay custom tax and brought in silver into the country, just put a thin layer of tin around it. Is worth 10, 20 times as much as he paid for it. Only the outer millimeter is tin. The rest is silver. A windfall. $1 million of money. So like any God-fearing Jew, they go to Beit Din. They go to Beit Din. Right? So who does this silver belong to? The seller says, it was my silver.
Who says?
The seller, my silver. I sold this to you, it's worth $1 million. I sold it to you for $1,000 or $5,000, whatever it was. Right? And halacha is if a seller doesn't understand the value of what he has and he undersells it, he gets it back. That's the halacha. Mekach ta'ut. I made a mistake.
But he's just a wholesaler.
Hold on. Right? It's right. And the buyer says, I found it. The buyer says, I found it. So the first question is, they ask the merchant, could you locate the owner? Maybe you know who you bought it from, so it's his. No, I don't know. I buy from many different sources, and most of them are not even Jewish. Doesn't matter. I don't know who. Like the Gemara says, Safsara. Doesn't know which item came from which source. A merchant gets from different sources. So okay, so that's not an option.
Batch number.
Right? So it's not that's out of the picture, unfortunately. Whoever sold it didn't know, made a mistake, it's their own fault, fine. So the question is between the merchant and the buyer. So who should it belong to? In a regular case, we would say it belongs to merchant. So the halacha is if this was his father's, it was the merchant's father, it belongs to his father. His father did this, he never knew. So it goes back to him. Because to the merchant. His father.
To the father.
Well, the father is passed away, that's what I mean. If he inherited it from his father, then it would go back to him. If it belonged to him and he forgot about it, it goes back to him. But in this case, it doesn't go back to him. Why? Because you never had it. What do you never had it? It was in my warehouse, in my store. A treasure you never knew you got, you never got. That's the halacha lema'aseh. I'm not saying a sound bite. I'm saying a halacha lema'aseh. A treasure you never knew you got, you never got. If it was yours and you forgot, okay, that would have gone back to you. But this you got from a wholesaler. You don't know which wholesaler, so that's out of the picture. But you never got it. So therefore, the one who discovered it, he got it. Belongs to the customer, belongs to the buyer. Instead of a new roof, go buy yourself a new mansion, right? New shedjan, right? This was a case that actually happened, right? Avoth Hashri brings this down. It happened about 700 years ago, and it's a halacha lema'aseh. It's a halacha lema'aseh. Rav Ruderman, Zecher Tzadik Livracha, used to say this a lot. He used to say this to people, he used to say this to Bachrim. He said the talent an ability, a power you don't know you got, you don't got. It's very important for us to realize the blessings we do have, the talents we do have, the abilities, the powers that we do have. Because as long as we haven't realized it, it's like we don't have it. And not only it's like we don't have it, in halacha it's we don't have it. I just showed you Jolla Master. So what I'm about to tell you is on my mind a lot. Been on my mind past couple of weeks. And it's given me a certain level of simcha, I should say. So I'm just going to share with you. In the beginning of Pirke Avoth, right, the Masechta seemed to start with an introduction. There is a peticha, right, there is a hakdama. Moshe קיבל תורה מסיני ומסרה ליהושע, יהושע לזקנים, זקנים לנביאים, נביאים מסרו על אנשי כנסת הגדול. הם אמרו שלושה דברים. They said three things. Right? So we sort of follow the chain of Torah, it seems the chain of Torah Sheba'al Peh, from Moshe to Anshe Knesset HaGedolah. Then we start recording what Anshe Knesset HaGedolah said, and the next generation, we go down the generations. Okay, so this part seems to be an introduction. It's not part of Milid Avoth. Right? The fact that Moshe received Torah, gave it to Yehoshua, and Yehoshua to Zakinim, Zakinim to Nevi'im, to Anshe Knesset HaGedolah, that doesn't seem to be part of it. Right? It seems to be an introduction. So Maharal has a different Mahalech. I've spoken about Maharal. Maharal holds it's part and parcel of the Mishnah. I'm not talking about Maharal's understanding right now. The understanding that it is an introduction, so what is it doing here? If it's an introduction, it really belonged where? Before Brachot. You want to tell me how Torah Sheba'al Peh, how Mishnah came down? Tell me in the beginning of Brachot. Why are you putting it in the beginning of Avoth? But what is this doing here? What connection? Okay? So Rav, which is Avodah Bartenura, Rishon, has an unbelievable answer. Unbelievable answer. But before I tell you the answer, I just want to make the answer real for you. I've mentioned in this setting, this session before, the book by Dr. Martin Seligman, The Optimistic Child. Right? It's a really a must read for parents. It's an amazing book. It's not a Jewish book. It's written by a psychologist. But in the beginning, he writes that this book is different than any other book written before. What's different about it? He says, these ideas, how to raise your children, what to say that is effective, what to say. He said, if you know a little bit of psychology, it's very easy to make up. And he says there, the problem is that that's what we did. We think, any psychologist, you have a little bit of understanding, or if you say like this, then they feel good about themselves. If you say like this, you build up their self-esteem. If you say like this, he said it's all conjecture. It's all what the author believes. And if you're in my job, he says it clearly. If you're in my type of line, you could make it sound very convincing. So he says the difference with my book is that everything I say in the book is researched. Everything, I went through 25,000 kids. He went through them from the time they were born till they were teenagers, and he followed the behaviors of parents and the behaviors of and he saw the results. And a lot of things that the doctors and psychologists say is not true. So this book, he says, this book is what actually does work, borne out by research. Now, you've heard from me that the book basically completely, it's revolutionary because a lot of things is against what the psychologists would say. It almost completely reinforces the ideas taught by Torah. But isn't that amazing? That's a danger we need to be aware of. Now you come up with your own ideas. Who says it works? Who says it even though it's very, very logical to us, it's logical to our mind because of the circumstances. You may, at the end of the day, you say, you know what? No, the counter logic made more sense. So now you're ready to hear the answer of Rabbi Madia Bartenura. So the question is, Why is the Hakdama? The fact that Torah we received from Sinai through Moshe, through Yehoshua, down the generations, why is it said before Pirke Avot? It should be at the beginning of Mishnah. So says Rav Ovadia Bartenura, listen to this. Says Rav Ovadia Bartenura, because the rest of the Torah, you know. When is the time for Shema? From the time of Segankohanim, from the time that it gets dark. How do I know that? Obviously I know it because we received the generation from generation back to Sinai. Pirke Avot is the ideas of how should one conduct himself. You would think that Chachamim said their own ideas. You would think that, okay, it's something that lends itself to everybody saying, oh, you know what, act like this, it's nice. Act like that, it's nice. And maybe Chachamim did say it. But just because a certain Chacham said it does not make it part of Mishnah. What makes part of Mishnah? That is Lemoshe Misinai. All the ideas brought in Pirke Avot also, we know they're true and as a fact and not something that in their time, in their understanding, with their logic made sense. I'm sure they said, Rabbanim said what made sense to them. What made sense to that generation. But that wasn't recorded in Pirke Avot. Pirke Avot is those ideas that were handed down and they traced back to Har Sinai. That's why this Akdama is not said in the beginning of Mishnah where we would have expected here. Because like we've discussed before, any idea in Torah is said where it's the most powerful, where it's the biggest chidush. The biggest chidush is here, Pirke Avot. Right? The biggest chidush is here in Pirke Avot. Pirke Avot, even Pirke Avot, that lends itself to something, make up on my own. No. Chalila v'chas. Even these ideas are. So what am I trying to bring out from here? That the ideas are timeless. See, a lot of things they may have said that made sense for their own time, and a lot of things we say or he says, our Rabbanim say, our generation, that is for our time. But the ideas of Pirke Avot are timeless, it's forever, because they're traced back to Torah. They apply. Obviously, we have to find their application, but they apply now, today, in 2017, as much as they applied at the time of Moshe Sinai, because that's the only thing that is recorded. The ideas of true Torah. Torah transcends time. Torah is not limited by time. Torah is not bound by time. Torah is infinite. So all the ideas are timeless and infinite. That's why Moshe kibel Torah misinai. That's why Pirke Avot starts with that.